What's up, everybody? Welcome to Big Little Kid Podcast. It's your boy, Jay Whitaker. It's episode 19. 19. Episode is entitled WISHKID. I got a special guest on the episode. Zac Ivie's in the building. He's got a new album available on Spotify, iTunes, all streaming platforms, so make sure you check it out. I got to sit down and interview with him. I got some dates for you. This weekend, March 7th, I'll be at Don't Tell Comedy. Make sure you tell somebody that I'm gonna be at Don't Tell Comedy. Then March 27th and 28th, I'll be at the Kowloon Comedy in Saugus, Massachusetts. 29th, I will be headlining Somerville Brewing. Come check your boy out. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Now let's get into the damn episode. Yes, big little kid, big little kid. Big little kid, big little kid, big little kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Big Little Kid Podcast. It's your boy, Jay Whitaker. Hopefully, y'all having a great week so far. Hopefully y'all having a good March. It's March now. Hope y'all had a good Black History Month. Mine was adequate. You know, it was okay. I hate that we had to end Black History Month with Oprah falling on stage and Ja Rule's birthday. That's how Oprah fell on stage while talking about balance. Balance, y'all. How you? And you gotta, if you watch the video, the person that's filming goes, Oprah. She's like, no. And it's, so when you see Oprah fall, and because it's in a way, Oprah is like auntie. You know, and so when it's like auntie fell on stage in front of everybody, and you just like, oh man. Not auntie. She can't fall. Because you know she got that bad hip. But it's Oprah, so she could buy a new one. But listen here. It was Deontay Wilder loss. I know I'm probably leaving some other stuff out. You know? It's just... But Black history still continue. I just had some. Black history is your history, and for those who may be watching or listening and be like, "Why is Black History Month so important?" Because it's our history. Not when I say not just Black folks, but it's American history, and we have such great history because of Black people. And so I encourage my fellow listeners to research your history. I had a chance to be in Rochester, New York. I had 5 great shows over there. I want to give a shout out to everybody at Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester. Make sure you show them some love. If you ever in upstate New York, I want to give a shout out to the comedians G-Funk, Rob Campbell up in Rochester that showed me some love while I was out there. Chaz from Bruce Gang on TikTok. They all showed me some love. I ended up getting up my ass on stage. I was a little tipsy. Had a little bit too much to drink before I got up. They invited me to do a guest set. I was already done with my show next door, but they were already kind enough to let me go on. They do a great improv show, and they were like, we do stand up in between. Would you mind dropping in and do a 5-minute set? Man, my tipsy ass goes up there and starts talking reckless. Get my drunk ass off the stage. But nevertheless, I made it out there alive. I felt pretty good about myself. I had great shows. So shout out to all the people that came through for those shows in Rochester. Big shout out to everybody on the Carlson cast. Vinny Paulino, Brian, Billy, Craig, John, I want to say. I want to give a big shout out to them for having me on. Rochester always shows me a lot of love, which I'm grateful for, especially... the best part about it is my pops is originally from there, and my mother used to live there as well. My grandfather had a little bodega there, and I remember I got into a lift ride And he was the Lyft driver asked me what I was in town for, and I said, well, I'm you visiting, because he picked me up from a hotel and everything. We're sitting there and having this great conversation. He's like, oh, so you visiting? I was like, yeah. I told him my family's originally from here. And they're like, well, where they used to live? I said, well, I don't know exactly where they used to live, but I do know that they had like a little family supermarket on the corner of Jefferson and Columbia. And he's like, wait a minute, over by Ray's liquor store? Yeah, I knew your pappy. Yeah, Sonny and them. That's right. Okay, yeah. If we was going to Ray's, shit, I done seen him about 15, 11 times. Okay, all right, brother. All right. And I was getting Black History on my last day of Black History. That was way cool. Yeah, brother. Yeah, okay. You going to Ray's, getting that Mad Dog 2020. Yes, sir. Yes, Lord. Yes. All right, I got to stop doing that. But yeah, it was a good time. And then I had the great opportunity to go to the Strong Museum of Play, which you have to go see it. You have to go see it. It's basically a museum designed for toys. Fisher Price, Dr. Seuss, Sesame Street, pinball machines, the history of video games and arcade. You get to see the evolution of video games, Mortal Kombat, Pong, all of it. They have these great artifacts in there. They have the old school Ataris, the old school Pong system. It was amazing. They had like Snoopy there, like a big statue of Joe Cool. They did there was a reading exhibit that talked about comic books and the growth of comic books. There was what I really enjoyed about it was the women in gaming. There's a whole part about gaming, and they highlighted women in gaming and how that has basically been the forefront, how women have been at the forefront of gaming. Well, they aren't, but they need to be. And what's next for women in gaming? And so I really love that exhibit. Make sure you check it out. But then I went and they had a little butterfly garden attached to it. They had a little butterfly garden. And guess what I did? I took my ass to a butterfly garden, y'all. I went to a butterfly garden. And I thought this shit was going to be stupid. I was like, man, this butterfly, man. This, what? Like, all right, this comes with the ticket. I'm getting a discount, so might as well just roll with it. So I check it out. I go through this little, they give you this briefing, don't watch where you step because there may be, animal life walking around. I was like, first of all, butterfly, why would they walk? They're flying. So they didn't tell me that there may be something else in there. So now I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit on high alert. And they're like, now if a butterfly lands on you, don't worry. If you don't want the butterfly on you, just come and get one of us and we'll get the butterfly off of you. Who are these people? Who are these people that are freaking, dude? Why? Why are we freaking out if you don't just simply, you don't need to shake it off or smash it. But I found out there are 25,000 different species of butterflies, and there was a common xenomorph or something it had the blue, light bluish wings. Here's a fun fact, found out that the wings are actually clear. All butterfly wings are actually clear. It's just the light that bounce back from them, and that's why they get the colors. So they're actually clear. They eat with their feet, which is gross. I don't have time for that. But they was pollinating and shit. They were just coming across and they was butterfly. One flew right by me, and then the second one flew by me, and I was like, oh shit, butterfly in the sky. I can fly twice as high. And take a look, it's in a book, it's reading rainbow. Yeah. I felt like LeVar Burton out that bitch. Then went down to Sesame Street, sat on the little stoop. They had a little stoop that you could take your picture at. Man, I had a blast. At this place. It was so damn fun. And I went by myself in a hoodie. Mostly kids there. I looked creepy as shit, but I was having a good time. I was taking selfies. I was playing the video games. just enjoying the space, like, and it was funny because since I went by myself, I wanted to get like a wide shot of me on sitting on the 123 Sesame Street stoop, a little brownstone. And then I wanted to get a picture with the Berenstain Bears. Berenstain. I don't know how to say it. Y'all figure it out. Berenstain. I didn't know how to say it. But I got a little picture. I had to go up and ask grown-ass adults, like, excuse me, I was wondering if you could take my picture, so I could sit here and, and not be creepy. Please don't think I'm some weirdo. People were cool with me though. They were just like, so wait, you just here by yourself? I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm rolling. They're like, okay, stay away from my family, but yeah, do your thing, brother. Do your thing. It was a good time. I highly recommend you go do it. And then I checked out, walked over in this cold. First of all, Rochester, bring like a scarf, bring the mittens, bring the earmuffs, bring a parka. You're going to have to cut open an animal and live inside its innards because it's cold. It's ridiculously cold there. It's cold. It's windy because the wind comes off of Lake Ontario. So you got wind blowing up your ass, parts you didn't even know you had. I'm pretty sure I felt something. I felt it. People, I can see why New Yorkers are the way that they are, because that shit was way too cold. Dude, way too cold. That's what we doing. Air horns for way too cold. So I walked my ass on over. People are just, they were surprisingly nice. But I'll go over to this spot called Twisted Tap. I want to give a big fat shout out to Twisted Tap. Walked up in there. This place ain't but like 2 weeks old. And let me tell you, it was so good. The food was off the chain. I had a garlic. No, it was a glazed donut burger with bacon and egg, and like that mayo aioli shit. Lord. So good. So damn good. Props to them for making a fantastic burger. Make sure you, when you're in Rochester, go check out the Twisted Tap. So give them some love. Hell yeah. I got a special guest for this. So obviously we got some new gear. I want to appreciate those that support the Patreon. I really do appreciate y'all and your support. We got some new gear, so now I'm able to make some phone calls and reach out to people that, a lot of my contacts are back on the West Coast. So, but I'm going to try to keep having more comedians on here. I'm going to get a hotline so y'all can leave a voicemail, call in your questions, whatever. And, but now I had a chance to give a phone call to my buddy Zac Ivie. Man, and I think this was a great interview. It was a fun time. He's got a new album out called WISHKID, and I'm just really happy for the dude because he really's doing his thing. He's out here moving and shaking. That music you hear in the background, that's him. Make sure you go vibe with him. Go check his shit out on Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, all that. We just sat down. We're about two hours apart as far as time zone wise, but he sat down, got on the phone with me, was very patient while I set up the equipment, and we sat down and had an interview. And so let's just, without further ado, let's get right to it. Here's the interview with the WISHKID and your big little kid, Jay Whitaker, Zac Ivie. It's in the building. It's going down. Please to enjoy. Wait, that was the wrong drop. Here we go. Hold on. Where's my little harp? Where's my harp? No, that's the wrong. Nope. I'm pushing the wrong. Stop it. Okay, now. Okay. That's. See the little harp? That's what I wanted to play. All right, so now. Okay. Okay, stop laughing. All right, there we go. All right, so it's the Big Little Kid with the Wish Kid, Zac Ivie. Sit down for an interview. Please to enjoy. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Whitaker, Big Little Kid Podcast. I'm on a phone call right now. Phone call. We're 2 time zones apart, but I got love in my heart for this dude that's on the phone with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Zac Ivie is in the building.
Yo, what is up, everybody?
What's going on?
What is up? 2 time zones apart. That's right. What is it? It's 2:15 here. What is it over there?
It's 4:15, man.
Man, see.
Yeah, what's going on, man? What's going on from the Bay State all the way to the Beehive State, man? It's good to have you, man. Dude, we've been following each other's career paths for quite a while, and I'm so proud of everything that you just accomplished. You got the new album, WISHKID. Please, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. How did you come up with the name WISHKID?
So, actually, it's kind of weird, almost simple story. But I was debating on, names for this project for over the course of a year, and nothing was really sticking with me. Nothing was really sticking with as far as like the album cover or the name of the album or what we were gonna put. Zac Ivie's wonderful experience of music. Like, I'm just kidding. We were going through a bunch of different names, and I fell asleep one night with the whole album on my mind, and when I woke up, it just came to me in like a dream. It was just like, yo, like, you should call this thing WISHKID. Like, you should call it WISHKID. Not entirely like that way. Like, there wasn't somebody inside my dream that was like, you should name your project this. But it was just like the word WISHKID as a whole came to me in a dream, and I woke up and I messaged the group chat, where everyone who was a part of the album was kind of just in this little group chat, and I messaged them and I said, why don't we just call it this?
There you go.
And at first it was just like everyone was just like, yo, like, why? And I was like, it's just what the project is asking for. Like, I can't tell you why. There's not really a specific defining moment where I was just like, but I can tell you that it was just in that dream. I woke up and it just sounded like that was going to be the name.
There you go.
And so we just ran with it. Yeah, we just ran with it.
No, I love it. It's 2 syllables. It's WISHKID. It's just like everyone can relate to that. It's not out of pocket. It's just like, boom. I love it personally. And I've been listening to it. Like, it dropped on what? Today is Monday as we record this. It dropped what, Saturday?
Yeah, it dropped Sunday. It dropped yesterday.
Yeah, so it's only a day old, and I was listening to it on my way coming back from a show. It's about it was a 40-minute drive. The album itself is about 37 minutes.
Yeah, 37 minutes.
Yeah, so I was listening to it, and it was like the perfect drive home, and it was, I'm telling you, I was just like, oh, we gotta do this. We gotta.
Heck yeah. No, man, I'm really, and like you said, I mean, I've been following you around, doing your thing, and your growth is it's just amazing, man. It's amazing to watch, and it motivates me at home. And so, and the funny thing is like, you lived right upstairs from me in the apartment.
That's crazy. No, that's crazy. You got, like, I was gonna tell that story because it was just, we were looking at each other. Like, I was at the pool with my lady, and you were at the pool. I'm trying to remember who was with you.
It was my wife.
Yeah, Well, congratulations to both of us, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, here we go, man.
I know.
We got tied down. Domesticated.
No, right? All domesticated, making dreams come true and shit. But
you, man.
No, I remember seeing you, and it was just like, I was looking at it, like, where do I know this cat from? And I couldn't figure it out. And then I remembered, I was like, yo, this is the guy that had the you shot a video outside of like Wasatch Brewery and Sugar House.
Yeah,
and
I did.
Yeah, and so I remember just like, because Ryan Race was involved in that video, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he's the one who shot that.
Yeah, and so I'm friends with him, and I was like, "Who is this guy, man? I loved it." I was like, "I don't know who this is. I don't know the sound, but I'm like, I'm vibing with it." And apparently, he's local because that's Wasatch in the background. So I'm like, Yo, and then next thing you know, I see you, and I'm like, yo, you that dude, and we had a conversation, and it was just we realized we was two motivated dudes, man, and I just really that was like a year in that was like in July, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the summertime. That's all
It
I
was
remember. It was
summertime
summertime.
because yeah, it was summertime because me and my lady were training for that charity fight.
Oh yeah, the celebrity boxing match. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah, I remember you telling me you were getting ready for that.
that's right. No, that's right, man. So that's crazy, man. But and here we are, a lot of time later, and I'm just look at everything that you've accomplished. I mean, like, and obviously your team is just way, way behind you. I see you on IG. I said that you got the videos, the concerts look like they're crazy. What's been your favorite audience to perform in front of?
My most favorite audience to perform in front of. Um, Man, that's a tough question. There's been so many shows and so many cool moments. I would say one of my favorite shows, or like a show that resonates with me a whole bunch, is right before I left, the very first show before I left on tour with Master Ace. We did a show out here at Soundwell in
Oh
in
yeah.
Salt Lake City, and it was just packed. And I had just announced that I was going on tour with Master Ace and Marco Polo,
Yeah,
which
that and
was
that album is crazy bananas right there. I love that album.
Brooklyn Story was great.
Yeah,
Brooklyn Story was great, and it was cool to watch. Ace kind of just dive back into his um just into the game again, right? Like I can't say like that I know, okay, well, he put it down for so long or anything like that, but like just to hear a refreshing new quality hip hop album was so just it just made it more real to me. Like, okay, cool, I don't have to conform to these trends or conform to this specific sound in order to make a hot record or to make a successful one, at the least. And
exactly.
so we performed in front of that crowd, and I was hyped. Everyone was hyped. Everyone around me was hyped, and it went off like a bang. Me and DJ Baloo, we did exactly what we needed to do on that tour, and we kind of earned our spot and earned the relationship with Ace and Polo during that whole tour. So
No, that's fantastic, man. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, the more and more I listen to your whole discography, and it's just like you feel so confident in your voice. You don't, which you can hear it. You can hear that bravado. You can hear that, but there's also warmth in your voice and there's this passion that when you hear a record from you, it just sounds like yeah, this dude puts his heart and his soul into everything. And so I really I can tell and I can see your growth, and it's amazing to listen to. It's amazing to watch. So man, I'm just happy for you, dude.
and I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that for sure. I mean, I try to convey that, like in every track, because really that's where every track is coming from. Every track is coming from somewhere deep inside that I feel like I wouldn't write it if it didn't mean something to me.
Right.
So
Well, that
so
and
when I
that's
when
the
I
yeah, and that's the thing is like I'm listening the track titles we got, like just it's clearly about passion. Tracks like Happier, Loving You, Temptation, Love, uh, Thank You. I mean, like this, there's a lot can be said with those track titles. That's pretty much the mood and the vibe. It's very mature, and I love it, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. No, yeah, and especially, I mean, and it's kind of like, and that's one of the things that I feel like I struggle with, right? Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I named the track this, and this is the Easter egg in it, and you've got to find the true meaning of this or that. It's just like, this is what it is, and this is what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna make them search too hard for it. Like, I'm not gonna make them. You get me, and you get this, and this is the name of the song, and this is what it's about, basically. So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. And so for people that may not be familiar with Zac Ivie, IV, they may not know. I mean, it's not just all lovey dovey. It's and passion and good feelings and good vibes. I mean, when I'll tell you right now, because I was hitting exit 10 on Route 3, and then track 9 came on, and I was like red handed. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
we go.
All filler, all killer, no filler type
Yeah, I
shit
was
on
like,
that one. Yeah.
bro, like I was like, I wish I would have taken my reaction because I was like, oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, man. I like, and that was like the whole point of the album too. Is just like we wanted to capture when designing and basically breaking down what we were going to do on this album, we wanted to have a little bit of everything for everybody. And so, I've still got these hip hop roots set deep within me. These tracks that are a little bit more about like, I guess it's a different type of passion, a
Yeah.
different type of fire that I put into it. And, I had to give something like that for people out there because, and unless I plan on making an R&B record, you're not going to get full love songs.
No, I mean, but
Sorry.
no, it's not, which is nothing wrong. I think it's very well balanced, and that's what makes the project shine. Now I do have a question as far as like, tell me about who your influences were, because obviously the show is Big Little Kid, so we got to talk about your childhood a little bit. What were your influences growing up as a kid? Tell me about your childhood. Who was little Zac Ivie back then?
Little Zac Ivie was kind of an outcast in Salt Lake City. I mean, I definitely grew up big into like the punk music and big into the ska music, which is kind of like a subgenre.
Oh, trust me, I know about my ska music, Voodoo Glow Skulls, all that stuff. Yeah.
I was a huge just ska and punk fan. I was while most people were out skateboarding, I was the one who was out rollerblading. I guess if that is kind of like an outcast situation, right? But really, where it happened is like growing up here in Salt Lake City, and not being a part of the LDS or Mormon culture. You kind of have this feeling of not fitting in, and that was one thing that I had to deal with always, like from preschool on up through elementary school, all the way until I pretty much stopped giving a damn in like middle school and stuff, where I was just like, you know what, like if you don't like me for who I am, then whatever. But
exactly.
In third grade, I was hanging out with an awesome friend of mine. His name is William Palomo, and his brother was making mixtapes. And William was showing up to school, and he was selling his brother's like mixes and stuff. And when I say mixtapes, I mean like he was taking Dougie Fresh tracks and then mixing them up with like the early like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys type stuff, right? So, like, kind of around that area. So I got a taste of like the Juice Crews and the Rock Cams and all this stuff before I ever got the like really discover it for myself. Like, he was throwing on. I remember specifically like the first track I heard. It opens up with Lottie Dottie with Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick.
Yeah.
And there was beatboxing, and then there was rapping, and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever heard. Like, how is he doing this with his
mouth? Yeah.
Not even necessarily Slick Rick, right? Like Slick Rick was doing his thing, and that's such a classic song.
Right.
But like I was more infatuated with like the beatboxing, and so for my third grade talent show, I taught myself how to beatbox.
I love it.
And I beatboxed for my third grade talent show, and I remember a lot of like the other students trying to do the same thing. But from then on, it was just kind of like I'd always had this love for hip hop music. I had still had this love for like punk music and ska music, and that same person, William, who sold me that CD. My junior year of high school asked me to join Poetry Club.
Okay.
And when I joined Poetry Club, that's when I first started. So I was about 17 years old. And that's when I first started diving into writing and creative writing and, finding out my voice and what I needed to do. I wasn't the best slam poet. Like, and I was up there competing with nationally ranked slam poets. So like the Jesse Parents of the world.
Oh, big shout out Jesse Parent. I'm trying to get him on as a guest as well.
Jesse Parent was a huge influence and still a really good friend of mine and a supporting factor. And when I would watch their, slam poems and stuff, I knew that I wanted to put that much feeling and that much passion into everything I wrote, but it didn't always come out like a slam poem. That more or less came out like a verse.
Right.
And so that, not too long after that, I was just like, let's just try it over a Dilla beat. Let's try it over a Pete Rock instrumental and see what we think of this. And it just fit better. Yeah, it just fit better that way. So.
I love it. No, like, so I got to ask you, do you ever think that you would incorporate like ska elements into your music now?
Oh, man, I've always, I will never say no to that. I wanted to start a punk band, I guess pre-hip hop Zac Ivie. I always wanted to start a ska band, and I always wanted to make a ska album. And I don't think that will ever leave the table. I think that's always something that I really have wanted to do. And I played saxophone in middle school, so I was a big fan of like the woodwinds and the brass instruments.
There we go, same. I didn't play in high school, but like I grew up on jazz music, so like I grew up on brass immediately.
So, but I mean between playing like saxophone in middle school. And then I remember like my very first concert that my mom took me to was the artist formerly known as Prince. So he
Wait, that
wasn't
was the
Prince.
so that was the
That
first concert you ever went
that
to.
was that was my very first concert that I went to
Your
was Prince.
mom is the greatest. Wow. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing, man, and it was such a crazy experience because at such a young age, I'd been familiar with Prince's music before, and I had known some of the songs, but I had never seen what that man did to a microphone stand before, or any of that type of stuff. I was like, Mom, what is he doing to this microphone stand?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he better wear protection when he's doing that, right, Mom? Right? So, yeah, man. I just music was always a big part of my life, and especially hearing like just such legendary acts and such, I mean, mostly my mom was mostly on the '80s music tip, but I was more or less just influenced by what was going on in like the late '90s, early 2000s.
I
So
got you.
like when a lot of people who I look up to were influenced by the rock hymns, I was influenced by the people who rock hymn influenced, right?
Ah,
Like the early Jay-Z's and the Bone Thugs and whoever. Like, I mean, even I will even say that I listened to a lot of Ja Rule growing up.
I
Like, I was
think,
like
dude.
down with the Ja Rule. It's
Okay,
just on
there's
shit.
nothing wrong with, and shout out. I never thought I'd say this, but shout out Ja Rule. His birthday was on leap year. He was born on a leap year, so like February 29th. But like, there's nothing like Ja Rule gets made fun of, but yeah, we all was banging Ja Rule at some point. We were all hollering.
You can't lie with the hits. The hits were coming back, and like I mean, like that early 2000s, late '90s was such a crazy time for music, such a cool time for music, hip hop especially because it was evolving into something on from all coasts.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't just like East and West Coast thing and South maybe. It was like everybody was down and everybody was making their own hits. Like,
Exactly.
their own type of sound.
Well, and
So,
then and it became so global. I mean, I remember early 2000s, late 90s. I was reading the production credits of every single album. Because the sound was just crazy. Everybody's beats were insane, and I mean, they were different. You could hear
they
beats.
were,
You
and
could
they
hear a
were
lot of beats
catchy, and
now.
they were,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Well, yeah, I mean, especially like nowadays, like you've only got a select few producers that are making stuff, and then they all, kind of sound similar, and that's something where like back in the day, like you went to the West Coast and you were getting a completely different type of G-funk style than if you were to go over to the East Coast, or if you were to go to the South, even, you know what I'm saying? And like hear people from the South, it's a completely different sound that you could still ride to. Like you go to Houston and you got like the chopped and screwed.
yeah, yeah.
You go over to the West again with like the G funk. You go over to the '90s with that jazzy boom bap shit, and like it was just and it was all good.
Right, right, right.
I can't say every song was good, but there was a lot of
No, I
good
know, but
sounds
there was
there.
a lot of there was a lot of quality and quantity and quality back then.
Yeah.
Back then you brought up your third grade beatboxing, and then seventh grade you played in band. I gotta know, first day of school, what is Ivy wearing? What is Ivy wearing? First day fit?
Yo, first day of school fit is probably just, you know, some what did they used to call them? They used to call them pirate pants. They were cut off at the shins.
Yeah,
I had my own stitching in them.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I probably had like a studded belt, black tight jeans cut off at the shins, some Converse,
Hmm.
and a hoodie basically, and then my rollerblades tied to my backpack. That was pretty much me. I never was that best dressed type guy.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
know,
never.
but this is why I love asking. I love asking this question, like, what was your first day fit? Like, because it evolves. Like in third grade, I'm sure you wasn't wearing that.
Nah, third grade, you probably caught me in. Yeah, you probably caught me just in some regular kid clothes, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
some suburb kid clothes.
that's
Mom dressed me, I bet.
that's right,
Mom was just
little.
like, all right, here's some Tommy Hilfiger. This shirt matches. Here's a Gap shirt or whatever. Call it good. I was like, all right, cool. Here's your shoes.
Yeah, yeah, polo shirt with like a little race car on it, just in a
Yeah.
little.
I go back and look at them sometimes, and I'm like, who let me wear a puka shell necklace to school?
Bro,
Who let me wear the puka shell?
I got pictures of me in a puka shell necklace in my early 20s. I'm not proud of it. I'm
Ah man,
I'm
who's
not
proud of that though?
with a trucker cap off to the side. It was a different time,
Yeah,
man. It was a different
yeah.
time. Things were Fergalicious back then. Okay,
I
it's
think
just
I Fergalicious though. I think I used to wear that too. I used to wear my hat backwards, but like slightly to the right.
yeah, yeah,
You know, not directly backwards or not directly forward. It was always backwards and slightly off to the right. You know, or slightly off to the left, or whatever side I wanted to tilt it to make it. You know, just get my own style into it. I guess. So,
I love it. I love it. Now, so as far as what song do you that you grew up with that you like? If I asked you to spit it right now, you would know it like off top.
oh man. Oh
Don't
man.
worry, you don't have to do it, but it's
Uh,
just,
okay. If you asked me to,
gun to your head. What song you got to
yeah,
spit a song from your childhood that you know from heart? What is it?
life or death situation, I could probably do the, when the doves cry. I know that one from start to finish. I
Wow.
know, Roxette. I had a couple from Roxette that my mom used to bump all the time in her Toyota. And I just remember, like, I can still see it today. Like, whenever I hear that song, I go back to like the days of being in my car seat listening to my mom just blare, windows down, blaring this song, and like, she was feeling that, like that late '80s
Yeah, yeah.
Roxette, freaking that whole style of music was just, yeah. If you met my mom, you would know. You would definitely know.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
You need to go back and get you some '80s beats, man. Get a
Yeah.
little,
So some 8-track type stuff,
get a
right? Where it's
little,
just eight sounds,
yeah, yeah, a
cowbells.
little oingo boingo and shit. You get you some little, yeah, some little new
Yeah.
wave. Nah, man. But
Nah, that's funny.
what's your favorite song that's on Wish Kid? Like going back to Wish Kid, what is your favorite song that you just is more personal to you or
My favorite song, and it was actually the first song I recorded for WishKid, but I think I would have to say that it's Happier.
Mhm.
Between Happier and the opening song Pressure, I really feel like those songs wrote themselves,
Yes,
more or less. It
I could
wasn't
see
like
that.
I didn't have to sit down and like try anything. And those are both songs that I just went in, and it was one take. I didn't have I had already known the song, like I'd written it years before.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and that was one of those situations. I don't think anything can really fight that or beat that feeling of just like, that song was written how it needed to be, because it just
Exactly.
came out so effortlessly. It came out just so flawlessly, and
Bro, like what man,
yeah.
and it's like when I heard Pressure, that was when like I put it on my Instagram story immediately. I was just leaving a gig and just got off stage. It's a Sunday night light show. We're just kind of. I was still tired. I just got back from New York, and I heard that, and I was like, "This is exactly." I was like, "This is exactly how I feel when I'm on like doing this grind of being a comedian." And I'm sure it's very similar, in a way to being a musician
Yeah,
and
in
an
some
artist.
ways,
Yeah,
being
in
a
some
comedian
ways.
seems like it'd be so much harder, man.
I
It seems
mean,
like it'd be
like
so much harder.
it's you, yeah, because there's no beat. There's no beat.
Nope, there's no beat. It's all a cappella, and the,
It's,
and the crowds are expecting you to be hilarious, right? Like
yeah,
for me, it's like, I just got to make music and keep plugging away. And every song's not going to be for everybody. And that's the cool part about music, is just because this song wasn't for you doesn't mean that the next track that you go over
right.
is not going. And that's what I like about releasing an album, especially, is just because like there's so much diversity in Wish Kid alone, where it's just like, well, if you don't like that one, click the next track and see if
Hmm.
this vibe fits you, or see if this vibe fits
Right.
you. And if none of it fits you, then that's cool. Wait for the next one, I
Now,
guess.
exactly. Now, I
Yeah.
remember. I want to talk about what's the song? I believe it's Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joyce.
And which were you talking to reference? I'll be gone for weeks. Is that
Yep.
is that the right one? Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And that line hit me like a ton of bricks because for I'm not like I barely started touring this year, but in 2019 I spent a lot of time on the road, and I'll be gone for weeks. Just I can hear that in the back of my head. You know what I mean? I'm like, dang, that's ah.
And that's one of those things, and that's exactly why I wrote that song. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Is because I have a support system at home
Mm-hmm.
that, whether you're gone for weeks, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, a whole month, and that's the thing with being an independent artist, whether it's a hip hop artist or a comedian or whatever, like when you're out on the road and you have to make these things happen because you have to expand your brand and your name,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it is one of the toughest parts is just being away from like the home life, you know,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
away from, I played so many shows in Salt Lake City where it's just like we just bounce back and you're home within 15 minutes
Of
and you
course.
can, you know, unwind and find that comfort zone and that space that you know that you're familiar with. But like when you're out on the road, you
It's
know,
different.
and it's different and it's taxing.
It's
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 definitely taxing.
exactly because everyone's like, oh, you should go see this, and if you have time, go check out this restaurant. Man, it's like no, and everyone
Like
thinks
I got a 9-hour drive tomorrow. Hold
yeah,
up.
and everyone thinks
Like, I can't do that.
hotel life, and Airbnb life is
Yep.
fantastic. No, you sitting there trying to just like focus on how to like rock this city for this night, and just you know figure out which
You be
moves you need to make, which you know you got to hang and because half the part is not even about the show, the performance. It's about the hang after the show.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
No,
networking
that's
and
exactly what it
oh
is.
my god, you know so.
Building the relationship with whether it's the club owner, venue owner, building the relationship with the other MCs that are out there,
Exactly.
or building relationships with people who want to come up to you after the set and buy your merch and stuff, and you want to get invited back, right? Like you don't just drive all that way just to have it be one shot, boom, we're out, never see you never, that type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. Like you want to be invited back, and like that was actually a big mistake on like on my very first tour with Zion I and Mr. Liff and Acrobatic and all
That's
those
right.
guys.
Which
Is like
congratulations
we
on that one. I remember that one.
that one was definitely a life changing
I'm
experience,
sure
you
of
know.
it.
And I felt like I came back my very first show on that tour. You know, I was standing in front of an empty wood floor. I was on first. I only had 15 minutes to like prove myself. I had not, you know, I had not had a tour experience prior, and when I stepped on the stage and I grabbed the mic, there were still people sitting down eating dinner. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like there were still people standing way out. Like nobody was at the front row. It hardly seemed like anyone was there to see a hip hop show. And I just looked at the floor and I just kind of like visualized what it would be like if everyone was in front of me and what that would feel like and how that would be and you know and what I just needed to do to prove myself. And like I felt like I did a fairly good job
Mm-hmm.
until I saw Liff and Acrobatic and Zion I jump on stage, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta step my performance up. Hold on." I was like, "I just went through the motions. I feel like," and so by the time we had came back to Salt Lake City, we did a run halfway on that tour,
Yeah.
which was kind of nice because I got to like spend the night at home instead of a hotel. But when I came back, a lot of people came up to me and were like, "Yo, what has changed? Like, what did you learn?" And it was just like, I actually learned how to do this shit. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't just like good enough to go up there and rap. You have to go up there and entertain and have crowd control and get the crowd involved and you know MC. It's
Exactly.
exactly what you have to do. You have to MC, and so that was what really changed my life, my performance. And you know, sometimes I feel like it's for the better. Sometimes I feel like you know it changed a couple things where I critique myself a little bit harder if the show doesn't go a right way. But I mean, it's just one show after another. You got to kind of just take that one. All right, I understand what I did there and what I needed to do and what I didn't do right, and then use it at the next show.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go,
man.
man. Like it's. I hope to see you out this way on the East Coast, man. We gotta get you out here.
I'm telling you, dude, it's only a matter. I feel like it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know.
It's as we record this, it's March, man, and I feel like it's crazy that we were sitting poolside. I know that sounds like just like some shit out of a movie.
We were. We
But we
were.
But we were just talking about our goals and what we wanted to accomplish, man. And I really feel that it's just like you just move different, you know. And I'm not trying to say to gas you up, but it's just like, man, you move different. And your team behind you. I mean, I know those guys from way back, and it's. I feel like you got the right momentum. You're in the right location. I never, you know, like. I think you're in the right, even Salt Lake City, you know, some people might say, what? No, you're in the right location. And I think the next move for you is just going to be, you know, into different time zones at this point, you know?
Yeah. And I, you know, coming up in May, I just booked an independent tour.
Hell yeah.
2 weeks. you know, 2 weeks we're going to be out on the road. And, you know, that was a lot of, I haven't booked my own tour before. You know, normally I've just hopped on a tour that's already been booked, but
Mm-hmm.
building these relationships with people outside,
Mm.
and then going and capitalizing on those relationships that you build, and going to show them that they're not just hiring some, you know, for lack of a better term, they're not just hiring some SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though, like, shouts out to SoundCloud rappers, you know, you guys got to get it done somehow. But like, they're not just hiring somebody who's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not just hiring somebody who's not about their business. Like, I'm going out there to show that I can, and am more than confident in my skills.
Yeah, yeah.
And want to build these good relationships, you know, and I feel like there's going to be some shows that are light, and there's going to be some shows that might be a lot better than what we expected, and I'm totally okay with that, because right now it's not really about going and selling out every venue that I'm at. I feel like that's, you know, sometime in the future, but right now it's just, we got to get people familiarized with the music and with the sounds, and once we go out there and do that, you know, hopefully the next time it's better.
That's right. WISHKID available on all platforms, correct? Spotify,
Yes,
iTunes,
Amazon, Tidal, Deezer,
LinkedIn, Craigslist,
yeah.
all that.
Craigslist, the back pages of the newspaper. You can find WISHKID back there.
On KSL, all that.
Yeah.
You can find it. You can
That's
find
a
it
good
on
marketing. I need to dive into KSL real quick.
Man, you need to put it on Facebook Marketplace, man. It'll be gone. Right. But make sure you support my boy. I know you gotta get back to life, get back to the road, get back to working on these songs, man. I do appreciate you taking the time out. Last final thing, just before I let you go, what would you say to that little kid in 3rd grade beatboxing? What would you say to that young man? You know, what would you say to him?
I would say, don't change a thing. Don't change a thing, man. Don't change a thing, man. Just be comfortable with who you are, and just go for it. Just go for it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, Zac, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and I appreciate it. I'm glad we got a chance to work. You're my first phone call guest, and hopefully not the last. So definitely next time I'm in town, we got to link up, drink up, all that shit. Get my drink back. Get my drink back.
Yeah, baby. Hey, Jay Whitaker, you're the man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem, no problem. Thank you so much. Take care of the fam. God bless, all that. WISHKID, go get it. I'll talk to you soon, man. You take care.
All right. You too, man.
All right.
Bye.
Yo, big up to my man Zac Ivie. Zac Ivie, make sure you support him, show some love. Get his album on Spotify, all streams, all platform, iTunes, Amazon, Tidal, all that. Make sure you follow him on social media. I want to give a big thanks to him. I appreciate him taking out of his time. We're in 2 different time zones, but man, seriously, this guy, like, I'm not trying to like gas him up, dick ride, whatever, but like, it was just one of those things where I met him and we realized we lived in the same apartment. I lived not too far above him. He lived on the 2nd floor. I lived on the 3rd, and we just ran into each other. And man, I'm telling you, he's one of those dudes, and he's got a great team behind him. And to see where he's at now, putting the project out, it's inspiring. It's inspiring me. May have to dust this old microphone off and get back in the booth, spit some bars about Metamucil, putting some Visine in my pupils. You feel me? Okay, let's go. Zac Ivie, make sure you follow, love, support. Take it easy. Big little kid. Peace, power, excellence.